Here's an article on Forbes, which I will leave a link down below in the description. This is covered by Brian Mazik. This was released today since this video is being released, May 29, 2024 at 11:15 a.m. This is pretty much going to be answering majority of your guys' questions. So he covers 50 things that you should know about EA's College Football 25. How many schools will there be in College Football 25? There's 134 schools. Also, within all these schools, they have their own particular playbooks. And you can customize and create playbooks, and it really makes each team feel unique when you're switching between teams and playing different schools in a dynasty. So, that's a huge plus to see that each school has their own scheme playbook. There is home field advantage. The impact of playing on the road in historic venues is felt more profound than in Madden, and effects are more harsh on younger players like freshmen and sophomores. You can check every player's composure and confidence status at the line of scrimmage. It's cool to see and adds a level of immersion we don't get to see in most sports games. So, this is a huge gameplay impact when you're able to see who's affected during the pre-snap of the play. It kind of reminds me of the PS2 concept era days where you guys see this. You see like color scheme, green, yellow, red, separates the players of great, good, and poor players. Now that's separated based off overall, and not sure if that made an impact based off hot and cold streaks as well, based off performance. Now you flash back to Madden 18 where we had, the same concept within, players. Underneath the players, it would show red, yellow, green based off overall or hot and cold streak. And then also you had a rating matchup and other things like fatigue and, the confidence. So in this picture alone, you guys see the ratings match up with the receiver and DB. You have a +2 height over the DB. Speed is equal. Route running, you got -9 rating and release, -16 based off the DB's rating. That's a matchup versus that. So it sounds like they're implementing this concept for pre-snap reads back into the game, which is absolutely a game changer for both sides offline and a competitive nature. And to use this can really have a great advantage for mismatches. Now we know College Football 25 heavily focus on the college atmosphere, so we know we're going to get one of the best presentations a football game can offer. In the last video, we talked about the reskin, if it's going to be exactly like Madden in a way. Now, I told you guys I interviewed the comp player that had his hands-on experience, and of course with this person in the article that had his experience as well. He says if you're expecting similarities to Madden, you definitely see some, which we expect. You're going to see some, but you're also going to see some distinct differences that make the experiment different. So that's expected between the two. So we know about the wear and tear system that they're implementing in College Football 25, but as you guys see here, it's not a stamina system. Instead, wear and tear is a system that creates a realistic risk-reward balance for almost every on-field action in the game. Every hit players take across their entire body counts as a potential wear and tear on the part of their anatomy. Take too many big hits and you'll see and feel your players slow down, become less effective, need to be subbed out or get hurt. I experienced it in firsthand with Michigan star Donovan Edwards, whom I fed the ball steadily in a head-to-head game against another user. By the third quarter, he had slowed considerably, so much that he was subbed out for Kalel Mullings, who wasn't quite as affected. That ended up costing me the game 17-16 against the Michigan State Spartans. There are some tweaks needed to increase the on-screen notification of each player's status, as it is a little too small considering the weight it carries. However, conceptually, it's excellent. So when I interviewed the comp players hands-on on this feature, he didn't tell me in depth like this guy has done in an article So it seems like over the amount of time throughout the game, depending on how you use certain players, it's going to affect based off, how often they're used, how they are used, and the effects that happens throughout the game. So that's pretty interesting to read about this wear and tear system feature mechanic in the game. So this is going to be a big game changer, especially for when people run same plays back to back to back to back. So of course you guys are going to witness the difference between, great players and mediocre players. That's expected when, you know, facing any team based off overall differences that you want to see. In Madden, we really haven't seen that. Um, like I said before, with Madden and Madden's past, terrible players like terrible DBs covering like superstar receivers based off overall differences, the terrible DBs can still compete with those high overall dominant superstar receivers. And that shouldn't be happening. So finally, we're going to see that separation, hopefully. Once again, got to get our hands-on experience with that. All college rules are in the game, so they have to adapt, especially catching animations to get those 1 foot inbounds to match the college rules. So, of course, we're going to see newer animations when it comes to adapting to college rules aspect. So there's new layers to the option game, 2 pitch types. You will have a quick or strong pitch type with each having their own pros and cons. Fortunately, this article person did not experience this during his gameplay experience. From what I heard from, you know, information that was put out there today, it's like a risk reward factor, and kind of how they done it is kind of like the passing feature where you have to like use a meter based off the pitch. So that's going to be interesting how that's used, but it's great to know that it can't be abusive. So it's going to be a really user timing, because it's going to be a risk reward, you know, option. Now the biggest thing that we all requested was keep college football college football. There are no X factors in college football 25. That is probably the biggest dub for gameplay aspect. And I'm so happy that this is not a thing, because if this was a thing for college football, uh this is going to be a huge L, and it probably would have ruined the college football gameplay experience, honestly. And like earlier I showcased, there's the pre-snap recognitions feature mechanic. So when you're walking up to the line of scrimmage, you bring up the play art and you get all these other features that will pop up as like, the ratings matchup between receivers and DBs and other things I showcased earlier on in today's video. So this is interesting. A replacement for X Factor players, they're implementing mental and physical abilities. For the mental, it's breakdown to pre-snap enhancement and reveals, while the physical abilities expand what you can do on the field with the controller and during the action. He says, I found it to land realistically and next to the wear and tear system. It might be the most impacting aspect of gameplay. So it's kind of like another way of saying basically we're giving you guys that simulation factor of having, the aspect of using, football knowledge. Making those pre-snap reads is going to be a huge game changer difference when you're, evaluating your opponent's offense or defensive matchups and schemes, and what's the best option to go about that play that you selected, and just looking at the mismatches. Revamped passing wasn't as impacting as it was sold to be. In the opening pitch about gameplay, we were told that College Football 25 would feature a revamped passing game. That part didn't feel much different from Madden, aside from the fact that the quarterbacks weren't as accurate as NFL players, which was cool. However, this aspect of the game may need more tuning if it is supposed to deliver a different experience. EA attempted to add more accuracy to cover shells. On defense, defensive players are supposed to better adhere to coverage assignments, maintaining the integrity of their covered shells. I found this to be accurate during gameplay, as most of the time when I was burned, it was because I took a player out of position by user controlling him, or my player just wasn't fast enough to handle his assignment. So this is where ratings and user control has a huge factor for defensive players. So you're not going to be seeing, players at linebacker, if they sub a DB, just running around covering everything. If they're actually slow and they get burnt by a fast receiver, you're going to see that result. Or if you take a player out of position, not playing his assignment, you're going to see a big reward for your opponent to take advantage of that. So this is great to see, but we got to see it in action. The switch stick was another underwhelming gameplay feature. In a nutshell, the switch stick is a controller mechanic designed to allow you to quickly select different players to control on defense by flicking the right stick. Again, this didn't feel all that different from previous Madden games. It felt more like EA had just rebranded and tweaked a legacy feature than creating something completely new and impactful. If it comes down to me switching to make a user tackle and I get switched from the farthest player away, I'm gonna be pissed. Now, if it comes down to that switch off where players switch at the last minute for the CPU to help them and they get bailed out, I hope that's not a thing. Please. If that happens based off the user control for the ball carrier, he should fake out that CPU controlled player, not the user that's switching off to get bailed out by CPU making the tackle. There is a new kicking system. So, it's a little bit more challenging than the one in Madden 24. It's especially tough in a college game that has capture that atmosphere clutch moment type of kicking situation where there's a horizontal meter with a needle that moves left to right. The speed of the needle and the size of the sweet spot are dictated by your kicker's attributes and the game situation. We saw some pretty tough kicks and it was super realistic. Oh boy, this is going to be a very interesting gameplay situational feature. It's going to be interesting. Ratings in the situation, oh boy. Can ask for a better result for special teams. So special teams is really going to matter this year. There is a revamped play calling screen. Your play art and selections are in the upper right hand side. There is team information at the bottom, but in the upper left, the on-field and stands presentation continues. It seems like a small thing, but this does a great job maintaining the immersion during a game. Weather impacted gameplay. So we're told. While I didn't play in any adverse weather, we were told wet conditions from rain and snow would lead to more drops, slips, etc. We heard this many years with Madden, but I cannot say I can remember ever feeling truly hindered in any of these conditions in the past. I'd love for College Football 25 to be the first game to make good on this promise. So yeah, I believe like Madden 09, NCAA 09 really had true weather effects where you literally see players slip on the field. So it would throw off your timing when you're making the pass. So hopefully they really go in depth on this because it would just make a game changer when it comes to weather games. There are two commentary teams. We got Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. Voices can be heard for the bigger games on the schedule, while a team of David Pollack, Jesse Palmer, Reese Davis carry the commentary for other contests. This is great for commentary because I got sick and tired of Madden's commentary. Oh my gosh, you guys don't understand. Most of the time, I like to play it on mute, but this is great to hear and to have the differences between what type of games. That's what you expect. So hopefully they expand on this and have other commentators added, as long as college football is released and see where it goes. You will not have full access to edit every aspect of rosters like before. We said a lot of positive things so far, but there are a few downsides with College Football 25. The biggest one is the inability to completely customize and edit rosters the way you could in NCAA football. You can edit some aspects of players, but you won't have the complete sandbox you once had. Why? According to EA, the inclusion of name, image, and likeness licenses has led to restrictions to the level you are able to edit players. NIL players, especially ones featured prominently in the game, will have more restriction than others. I mean, that's expected with the likeness of players, and I'm glad they emphasize on this and made a lot of restrictions because if they didn't, oh boy, there'd be a lot of suing happening. Right, people, you can have dynasty modes with up to 30 users online, offline. Guys, I'm going to be hosting an online dynasty. I need y'all to join this B up because I would like to have probably just a bunch of people that want to grind small schools. I don't know. I might mismatch the type of tiers. You guys could probably pick whatever team you want just to make it interesting, or we can grind with small schools and build them up. But yeah, I'm gonna be hosting Dynasty for enjoyment purposes with you guys and to play as a community. So let me know what teams y'all want down below in the comments. I will be having Discord up pretty soon about that and much more information in another video. Team Builder returns with more options than before. That's expected with Team Builder. I mean, you'd be able to upload logos, completely customize rosters, uniforms, and stadiums for your created school. We only saw a few screenshots, but the depth of the feature was exciting for fans of the older system, and it sounds bigger and deeper. You cannot edit coaches though, so there are a few limitations, and that's expected. So the fact that they are balancing with restrictions and what kind of sandbox you can do with customization, it's great to know what options are available and what's not. So good thing they're keeping a balance between these two things. So for Online Dynasty, you can customize schedules to a degree. So there's a subject of limitations in Dynasty mode. Here's another one, but it's not as big of a deal as others. You can customize your school's schedules, but only to a point. Certain rivalry and conference games are locked in and must be played on specific dates. You have more control of non-conference games and non-rivalry contests. So that's expected. I mean, it's not like we had anything different from before. You cannot export draft classes into Madden 25. I mean, I'm kind of disappointed of that, but it's like at the same time, I'm really not going to play Madden 25. So, the NIL deals are again the reason you cannot have that freedom. According to EA, the licensing deals with the players are only for college football and do not extend into Madden. There's hope something can be worked out in the future, but it won't be allowed in this year's game. So, I mean, that's kind of expected, but who's really going to play Madden 25 at this point? We're going to be stuck in college football, people. Like, come on now. Huge L for Road to Glory. You can play as a quarterback, running back, receiver, middle linebacker, or cornerback. Kind of disappointed you can't play like special teams or linemen. That's a very unfortunate. Each position will have archetypes with attributes as well as abilities that can be developed and unlocked. So it's nothing different than what we've been having over the years with Madden's career. Road to Glory has a dynasty mode running alongside your career. One thing that was interesting and pleasantly surprising to learn is that even in Road to Glory, there is an entire dynasty mode experience happening in the background, meaning while you're following your player's career, recruiting, coaching carousels, and other in-season and off-season events are taking place. It may seem small, but it is cool that the virtual college football world will be moving while your great player's career is developing. Now, one thing I would like to hopefully find out more about is instead of going to NFL career, even though that can be an option, I wonder if there's an option where you can continue to try to coach a college team after your college career happens, just like how we had in the past. So hopefully that's a thing. But as far as what we're getting now, it seems like that's not a thing, but when they intertwine this, it might be a thing. Road to Glory is designed to be played in 10 to 20 hours. The entire Road to Glory experience from freshman to senior is designed to take users 10 to 20 hours. EA hasn't designed it to last users a long time, as it appears that it's more reserved for Dynasty modes and other features in the title, so it seems like they're going back to how we had it with Madden, scripted outcomes, cutscenes that you really can't skip, just everything that leads to like a story pathway, a strict story pathway. And it sucks to hear that, but it is what it is. That's expected with the Road to Glory anyways. There are tons of new options for players creations. Player creation in most EA games is limited. It's the area of sports video games the publisher, developer has never really seemed to try to expand on. That might be set to change in College Football 25. Take this as caution optimism, but apparently there are 16,000 heads made up of a combination of multiple templated facial features, 70 hairstyles, and 14 skin complexions. Let's hope this is what we see in College Football 25 and in Madden 25. For me, I'm not really heavy on the customization, but for those that are, it's great that we have a lot of options now compared to what we had in the past and very limited to. You'll have custom celebrations. EA seemingly wants users to go a little crazy with their characters, so there are tons of signature celebrations. There's literally a menu packed with them if you're interested in unleashing it on the CPU. The celebrations are also available in other modes of the game. Play to win individual awards and side quests. Your Road to Glory character would be trying to win the Heisman as well as all of the other individual awards in real life college football like the Doak Walker and others. However, Road to Glory also offers something that functions like side quests that enables you to chase school, conference, and national records along with other noteworthy accomplishments. Hitting the mark unlocks rewards and boosts. If they have the same mechanic of choosing what type of celebration to do, I mean, it's great. It's not for me though. I like how it just flows and it just randomly picks a celebration based off the situation and reaction. I'd rather have that than picking. Reason because it looks weird when your guy just stands there for like a couple seconds and then he reacts. Off the field gameplay is based on time assets management. While you're in the charge of what happens with your Road to Glory player on the field, you also have to choose how to spend your time away from the field. We've seen these systems in almost every sports game. The challenge is always to find a way to make the in-between stuff fun and impacting to your bottom line. I don't know if EA accomplished this task, but I do know you have a specified amount of time, currency to spend on training, rest, school, work, and things to help you establish NIL deals. So it seems like they're bringing back, like what I've been showcasing with the Barry Sanders career, is that you have to manage, your grades, be in the books, and also grind your player by doing drills and possibly practice to keep a starting position job. So it's great to see that this is implemented back in college football, baby. Win 10 games to capture a national championship. One of your goals in Road to College Football Playoff is to win 10 games during your run. That will help you level up your ranking system. The teams are tiered in Road to College Football Playoff. The 134 FBS teams are tiered, and users who play with lower tier programs will get more votes for winning games against top schools. So there's some incentive to play with small schools to see if you can earn major jump after pulling off an upset. Ultimately, this is all about making it to the playoffs and winning it all. So it seems like they implemented the ultimate team system of you have certain amount of games to make it to the playoffs and to possibly championship, and you get rewards, right? Now, for those that are using trash teams, it's going to be very rewarding when you win against people that use nothing but dominant schools. This is so satisfying to witness because with Madden, doesn't matter what team you play with, and even based off win losses, it doesn't even matter. It's just based off how many total games that's played. Now that they're implementing something like this for college football and worth playing based off whatever team you want to use, even if it's your favorite college football team and they're trash, and yet you can pull an upset, Oh, it's going to be such a satisfying ranking system when that happens. This is probably the greatest thing that they have ever done for this game. So when you think about it, people that's just going to use Alabama or these top schools every single time they play a match, and they're not really going to get, high ranking. Oh, it's going to be the greatest thing ever. It's going to be the greatest thing ever. So I'm really interested to see how this works and plays out over time. I love it. I love it already. You can export your Road to Glory player into Madden 25. So, while you won't be able to export an entire draft class, you have the opportunity to take your career player into Madden Superstar mode once it's released. Road to College Football Playoff is ranked regs. So if you're looking for a way to play other users online, but you don't want to play Ultimate Team, but you do want a rank experience, that game will feature the Road to College Football Playoff system. It is online head to head with an interesting structure. Yes. Yes. That big dub. Big dub. Rank levels are bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and legend. The rank levels are pretty customary, though you have a chance to do some peacocking if you reach legend, as it comes with a badge for your profile on Road to College Football Playoff. Ultimate Team will include legends and current players. That's expected with Ultimate Team. And the Road to College Football Playoff, I think, is probably going to be the most interesting game mode of all time, honestly. And how the ranking system and all that stuff happens, and the fact that you're getting like these cosmetic things for your profile. Oh, it feels like I'm prestiging Call of Duty, and you get all these wonderful knickknacks for your profile. I love it. Anyways, guys, that was the official announced information that is released out there to the public. Once again, if you guys want to check out this article in full and read it for yourselves as I broke down the most important parts, check out the link down below in the description and let me know everything that you guys think about what you guys got infoed on in today's video. Just let me know down below in the comments, ask questions, and yeah, I'm very, very stoked after getting all this information today. I'm gameplay enthusiast. I'm still iffy on it, but so far, yeah, it got my attention.